All right, welcome back. We would now go straight to the front pages of select national newspapers to bring us all the stories that made it to the front page. We will begin, as is a tradition, with the Daily Trust. The major story on the front page of the Daily Trust reads, CBN sacks 50 more staffs, 117 gone in 20 days.
What's going on? It's
a massive flush.
Is this cleaning out or what?
Well, they call it a reset.
Right sizing? Because there's a surplus or redundancy or what?
Well, basically they are restructuring, and what that means is that they are declaring some of the activities. I mean, they are declaring redundancy on some of the activities, like the development finance intervention. But we are also seeing staffs from procurement departments, from the medical services department also included in this recent sack. Staff accuse management of illegality, double standards, and external vendors also caught in the ceasefire. And of course, we have these beautiful pictures, from the different Eid grounds yesterday, from Bauchi, from Adamawa, and of course, from the Federal Capital Territory. Salah, seek knowledge, pray for leaders, Sultan tells Muslims. And cracks widen in PDP as North Central insists on chairmanship. Controversy over price war on London route. Do you see what's going on that route with the emergence of airpeace?
I saw a ticket on BA for $171 in the month of June. And I've never seen a ticket go so low on British Airways. And all of this, according to industry analysts and experts, is targeting to push airpeace out of the market. They will do this for as long as they can until airpeace realizes that it no longer makes business sense for them to fly that route. And I think this is more reason why the government, stakeholders, people who are patriotic and can see the profit down the line to invest in airpeace to make sure that they don't, because if we keep pushing these prices down, because what essentially this means is that they could have priced this low years ago or months ago and still make profit, because they are doing it now because there's a Nigerian player in the game. And you know what, for a long time I've never had any Nigerian company make me so proud like the way airpeace has done over the past few weeks.
True. And if anything, this is the time for the government to redouble its effort. Make sure that every single movement you are making,
use airpeace.
Official movement of this country, the instruction should be a Nigerian airline on that route, and where there is none, you can take or try the alternative. I think that's just the way to keep this
government support. Boeing gets their support from the government also. They get so many grants. When they're doing their research and development. Airbus, the same thing. Lufthansa is an airline supported by the German government. So many other businesses. Do you think the British government is just watching BA run as a private? No. They support them in whatever way they can.
So it's time for us, to put our mouth, or rather money where our mouth is, And to other stories, Israel bombs Gaza on Saturday despite U.S. rebuke. Passengers missing as bus plunges into Lagos Lagoon. And worshippers gunned down at Zamfara Eid ground. And customs import duty rate falls to 1,238 to $1. Interesting developments there yesterday, given that it's a special day of obligation for Muslims. One other interesting development is what we saw in Gaza yesterday. Heartbreaking. You would think that given the sensitivity of the celebrations of yesterday, we would have had some kind of ceasefire.
If World War II was humanity at its best, fighting against this global oppression, this is one of the lowest moments I've seen, where the deaths of 30,000 plus and counting, including on all sides, and we're still playing politics with this. It's just really just heartbreaking. Well, let's move on to the front page of the Punch newspaper for today. Okay, let's start with Guardian then. It's all good. The Guardian for today, Thursday, April 11, 2024. NSAS probe panel report. Victims await 1.7 billion naira compensation from 25 states, 3 years after. Do you think it's coming?
The body language.
Government and compensation.
The body language as it is that we've moved past that.
They have all the reasons now to justify not paying that money. But you can see also the pictures there from the Eid festivities. Amazingly, anyway, these are all during prayer sessions, but most Nigerians did not celebrate the Eid smiling for obvious reasons. Tragic Salah, monarch dies, reckless driver flings 2 passengers into Lagos Lagoon. Yeah, he was overspeeding when we understand that he rammed into the railings on the 3rd mainline bridge.
So
that was just recently.
I was just trying to understand the report, and what I got from it is that these 2 passengers that plunged in basically were thrown in from the impact on the ground.
Because of the speed.
Because of the speed. You can imagine how much, they had to break through.
And it's a Molue, the yellow buses. They're not necessarily known for their speed.
Yeah, but
so how fast could he be going? So how fast would he be going?
Especially from Adeniji. Usually on during festive period, Lagos is as quiet as a public holiday. You start seeing movement much later in the day. So they probably were running to drop off people and probably come back. And make as many rounds as possible.
It's really quite sad.
It is not just because the roads are also free. These vehicles are not exactly the best on our roads. A lot of the models are completely out of circulation. So whatever you find on them, we're fabricated to keep them running.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's take another look at the front page of The Guardian. In other news, we refuse to move on 91. We refuse to move on. 91 Chibok girls' parents tell Tinubu's wife seek intervention.
How can you move on?
Yeah, there's no moving on. There's no way. I mean, it's a parent. We're talking about parents.
Their kids back,
10 years later, they still want their, they need closure. They need to know what happened. If they're alive, of course, there's always hope to reunite and be with your ward. I mean, these girls were taken at the age of 16, 17, 18. They were not even adults yet. So there's definitely no moving on. And 3 days from now, we'll be commemorating the 10 years of that kidnapping that grabbed the attention of the entire world. Back to the front page of the Guardian newspaper for today. At Salah, Tinubu, Buhari, others seek resilience, support, peace, and unity. And in other stories, price of goods not reducing amid Naira appreciation, Accord Party tells federal government. Yes. I don't understand it. It's supposed to be for every action, there's a corresponding reaction, right? So when the Naira was going down and the dollar was going up, we see the reaction. But now the Naira is going up the other way, and there's no reaction.
Which is the typical human nature. Once the action benefits them, the compliance is spontaneous.
It's swift.
But once they are going to lose, then you start seeing some of this clock back. But like I said, when we were explaining this at some editorial meeting, usually there will be some kind of market corrections on the way. There are those whose goods who are running out of stocks and will have to restock. They probably will have to restock on a lower dollar. And then they can afford to cut prices, at the retail end. And that will force those who are insisting on keeping the old prices to also make adjustment. You would have to take a hit, just like you made colossal gains when prices adjusted. So it's the adjustments that's not happened, but some kind of market corrections would take place, I'm sure, somewhere down the line. How fast that would happen we are not sure. I mean, because the adjustments we saw on the retail ends, they were not proportionate to the fall in the Naira. How can you explain the dollar, or rather the Naira, dropping from 1,350 to 1,600, and that warranting a jump in cement prices from 5,500 to 11,000?
And now that it's down?
And now that it's down, the prices are just clawing back, dancing around 7,500.
Taking their sweet time.
Taking their swift time. Well, somewhere along the line, we will see these market corrections. I hope it doesn't take too long to happen.
Dangote reportedly says that, as crash in the diesel price would most likely see inflation drop. I don't know how soon that would be, but we're looking forward to it.
He's supposed to have started pumping out diesel. We should see aviation fuel. And that is also responsible for the high prices of aviation tickets that we have seen. It's basically tied to the diesel or aviation fuel inputs. Once we get something lower than the market bar, transport prices would drop, which is central to the movement of goods and persons. And naturally, we should also see these prices go down.
Well, that's it from the front page of the Guardian newspaper for today.
All right, we'll take a look at the Punch. And it's punching this morning with some good headlines. Eid al-Fitr, defend Nigeria, support leaders, Tinubu, Buhari urges citizens. Let's protect Nigeria's integrity. Tinubu appeals to Nigerians. Support for leaders, a vote for better tomorrow. These are part of his Salah messages yesterday, and of course we have those beautiful pictures also coming in from various Eid grounds, including that where the president also had his prayers. I was going to mention that there's a face now that I see only during Eid prayers, and that's Babatunde Raji Fashola. He's
gone into hibernation. He's gone into hibernation.
He's always there on the front row, and I like to imagine that if he's this close to the president, I think he's still got some energy to be deployed in some places.
Perhaps but maybe he needs some time off.
I should think so.
Sometimes
also. He jumped straight from the governorship to the last administration. It's been 16 years of very deep engagements. And I like the fact that these pictures were mixed with those of the women wing also praying. That gives us a sign. It gives us a sense of how much it's also happening on that side. So it doesn't look like the prayers are just about the men, as it appears with some of us. Two other stories: electricity tariff, FG plans 1.5 trillion savings, 2.5 meter installations. Well, that's the minister speaking there. Fresh borrowings may push Nigeria's debt to 111 trillion. And cash crunch hits Code of Conduct Bureau, state offices. Asset verification faces hurdle. Well, and bank customers' complaints jumps by 63% according to a report.
I wonder what those complaints are about.
It's the usual, I've been debited. And the other person at the other end is saying he has not seen the funds. Those are the type that will push Nigerians to want to follow up with the complaint resolution mechanism.
That's why I really think that the disruption from the fintech companies is really an insight as to what could have been done, but that has not been done because the banks, explore these gaps to their own benefit. You know how it will take you days before these transactions are rectified, sometimes weeks. I mean, you get any of these fintech apps now, you're credited now, and it takes you maximum 5 seconds, and it shows up.
That's right.
Or if not, in the next few minutes, there's a reversal.
That's right. And the other important part is even the fact that they can tell you that this transaction would not be successful before you even...
Exactly, before you complete it. Or it tells you it's pending. It tells
you these guys have a network downtime. There's no need trying. Interesting technology. What we should see, what we see in other climes is where you find technologies that improve on the bank's offering. In other climes, the banks buy those technologies over
and incorporate it in their own services so that they can create better customer service experience.
They don't pay for intellectual property in this part of the world. They just want to continue to make as much money as they make from non-interest services, as we have seen, with some of the early ones that have declared their results for 2023. NAFDAC orders recall of toxic cough syrup. And Ondo Amotekun nabs 14 suspected kidnappers, 31 others. We were speaking earlier about how effective some of this local, security outfit seem to be, with community policing than we have seen with the conventional police. Olubadan designates health. Ladoja faults Otun Balogun. Makinde says no crisis. And these are the major stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Moving on to other papers, we have The Nation, and it's leading there with statements from Aliko Dangote. Diesel price cut driving down inflation, says Dangote. Entrepreneurs should work with government. Abiodun, economy on recovery path. And two other stories, government to firm up non-revenue plans. So much of rhetoric there from the government end. And like we said, indeed, once we get good prices on diesel, good prices on aviation fuel, good prices on PMS, then we should see some trending down in the inflation numbers, because one of the major catalysts of price jump has been the cost of energy. Essentially the cost of diesel, the cost of aviation fuel, and of course.
What's your projection as to when we're likely going to see a drop in the price of in energy prices, basically because of local production? And also, what's up with the Port Harcourt refinery? I've seen people ask, we're behind again.
That question is pumping up, but it's been a long holiday period. So I'm sure when we return from the holiday season, we should be getting responses. What we know before today is that they have also started stockpiling crude, which is a pointer to the fact that they're trying to kickstart operation, as we saw with the Dangote refinery. In fact, the other private refinery in Benin, the Water Spirit refinery that does AGO, is also stockpiling crude. We understand even Warri is also stockpiling crude. So it gives us a sense that we are moving in the direction.
So somewhere around the third quarter this year, maybe
we should see it stop. I mean, the CBN governor was saying at the last MPC that they hope to start seeing inflation trending down by May.
All right.
And as you would know, as economic managers, they have more information than we do. So they may be privy to certain things happening at the back
end. The World Bank projection then could be off by some margins then. We could see inflation come down much lower.
But I think we should not expect a miracle. It has taken us some years of damage, to get to this point. It will take us some years of repairs to also get back on track. But I mean, we just can't wait for the prices to start trending down. It will take a while for us to see adjustments, as we have seen from the retail end. But I mean, it is only so long that you can keep pricing people out of those goods. You end up not buying, and you have to close shop if you don't.
The miracle that happened to the dollar, and I know it's not a miracle, is what Nigerians expect to also happen to energy prices, especially when it comes to PMS and diesel, as well as gas.
I think now it is beginning to make sense if we use local production to explain it. Today, with the miracle in FX and the commencement of, say, Airpeace on the London route, we are seeing what competition can do to pricing. He came in with a lower price and set the bar, and people are now repricing their product.
I don't know if you watched The Office, the TV comedy series. So when he lost his job, he just started another paper company and started selling way lower than the other company. And he was taking customers away from them. And, it's a business practice that sometimes is seen as unhealthy, but as far as service provision is concerned, the more the merrier in terms of pricing. And then customers have not only options to choose from, but the competition in pricing itself is to try to see which one is much more affordable.
That's right.
And in this particular case, local production would definitely means lesser importation. And if it's less importation, it means that importers don't have to worry about, getting their hands on dollars. And if the dollar demand goes down, economics 101. The lower the demand,
good for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right. I understand that we have used up our time for this morning. It's been an interesting session.
I wonder what Malam Nasir is doing this morning. What do you think? Enjoying his Salah break?
I don't expect any less. I mean, he's worked so hard. It's only time to ball very hard. And if you are in a city like Kaduna, you can imagine.
You know what they say? All work and no play makes
Jack.
In this case,
very noble.
In this case, I think we're the ones who are not playing.
We'll find time to make up for this busy schedule.
Right.
It's been an interesting engagement with you, and thank you for allowing us free access into your living room. As I always say, we are here because you are there, and we will do this again tomorrow. I am Sunday Michael. Until then, stay blessed.